Hi, and thanks for joining me. Well, I want to chat to you about the meeting between Prince Harry and King Charles III, and I wanted to think about it a little bit. I wanted to mull over it and not just sort of react off the cuff, because I must admit, when it was first reported, I did feel quite a bit of emotion, and it was all centered around William. As I said in the piece that I wrote for my Substack, the impact on him and his family was the first thing that sort of sprung to my mind. And I imagined, although you can't really know, but I imagined that it would have been quite isolating for him to be attacked for so many years, to have so many important confidences betrayed, to witness the besmirching of your wife's reputation, seeing her portrayed as standoffish and cruel and racist, and then have the cause of all that be invited to tea. So that was my initial heartfelt response. However, the thinking me kicked in eventually, and I observed it with more amusement, like watching any sort of tacky soap opera as the stomach turns. But I then asked the question, who wouldn't have sympathy for a father diagnosed with incurable cancer wanting to see his estranged son? And what was troubling me was I wasn't feeling that sympathy. Harry and Meghan might have been able to callously disregard Prince Philip's health in his dying days, but I couldn't be like that. I had to acknowledge the King's very real health situation, otherwise I'd be a heartless monster, wouldn't I? But the trouble was, like I said, I wasn't feeling it, and that confused me. Because I know I'm not a heartless monster, so what was it? And then I realised, because of the way it was done, that was the big clue. If it was genuine and not just for show, we wouldn't have known about it. If it was truly a private, heartfelt meeting between father and son seeking to heal their broken relationship and deserving of our sympathy, then it wouldn't have been at Clarence House. It would have taken place at one of the private royal estates, or a London hotel with a penthouse lift, or even where Charles goes and gets his treatment at a hospital. Although I think that probably would be a little bit too Sopranos, but you take my point. Seriously, Sandringham, Balmoral. Harry could have been flown in undetected. They could have landed on the private estate out of the public gaze. They could have had a meeting in one of the many private houses on those estates, and we would have been none the wiser. So I think this was always meant to be a public event. I think it was the result of their, respective media masterminds. And no doubt the final details were worked out over those drinks in the private members club. Remember that? We weren't supposed to notice it. It was the teaser. It was the trailer being rolled out. How manipulative. And the King gets to play the forgiving Christian monarch and loving father, and the Prince gets his desperately needed royal stardust. Because let's face it, without the much needed proximity to royalty, Harry was already being portrayed as middle-aged, irrelevant, a laughingstock, and his only hope to hang on to the Invictus Games, or indeed be able to grift off his royal brand, was a meeting with the King. Now, the sad reality is that many non-working royals grift off the royal brand. It's one of the massive perks of being one of the royal family, but hopefully most of them are doing it legally. So the public reaction to this meeting was monitored, and there was an overwhelming, instant, visceral, negative reaction. And the King was really criticised for this unwise move and called out for putting William in a difficult position. So cue the backup plan, the walk back. The King only met for 25 minutes and was never alone with him. Harry looked miserable when he left. He must have got told off. The King laid down the law. Harry is under strict instructions not to leak any details or he won't get another meeting. No more royal stardust to fund his future. Now, I'm just going to interject here and say, Harry, you better not tell Meghan, because if you tell Meghan, it'll be reported in People magazine literally within hours. Though I suspect that hapless has already told her everything. So I'd just like to offer this little bit of advice, Harry. When it comes out, not if it comes out, when it comes out, it's not the palace, it's Meghan. It's always been Meghan. Now, I have been criticised for my cynicism of late, and actually I think that's a fair comment, because when I first began reporting on this sorry saga, I was motivated by a genuine feeling of protection towards the late Queen Elizabeth II. I thought she'd been treated unfairly. Her 70 years of duty, her legacy being attacked by these two little upstarts who were long overdue for some strong boundaries and consequences. But I have struggled to maintain those protective feelings of late. And actually, I'm interested to hear how you feel about it, so let me know down below. I'm disillusioned, hence the title of this video, I'm disillusioned by the revelations about Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, really serious allegations. A lot of it was revealed in court cases with ample, credible evidence. Evidence that if it implicated someone like me, there would already be a full criminal investigation. I'm disillusioned with Charles' communication hires, plucked from executive positions on tabloids, first with Mark Boland and then Tobin Andre. I'm disillusioned with the horse trading, the obvious horse trading that goes on with the Royal Rota. I'm disillusioned with the use of VJ Day and the Invictus Games to enhance Prince Harry's brand, and the lack of any real action to rein him in. I think it shows such a lack of respect. I'm disillusioned with royal reporting in the mainstream media. They don't report, they spin. They thoroughly attack a chosen target, and let's face it, of late, it's usually been William, or they fawn over whoever gives them the most access. And independent media just feeds their tribe. They tell them what they want to hear. I'm guilty of that, although I am making a conscious effort not to do it. Team William versus Team Harry, Team Charles versus Team Harry, Team Charles versus Team William, Team Harry and Charles versus Team William. Agendas, alliances. And when you start to recognize that, when you start to see these patterns, you can't unsee them, and you can predict fairly accurately what each entity is going to spin. And I don't know what the answer is other than common sense, the reporting of uncomfortable truths, admitting my bias. But as I said the other day, there is a really serious side to all of this. It's added to the unprecedented levels of angst and division in the UK and throughout the whole Commonwealth. There's a heavy cloud of racial division, stoked by Meghan's victimhood initially and her rather deliberate yet vague accusations of racism. It set people against each other. It's divided many into tribes, and it's created social media attack squads, such as the now infamous Sussex Squad. So I just want to finish with this graphic that I shared in the community the other day. And it's true. I don't begrudge a father meeting a son, a heartfelt meeting, if I felt it was genuine. I'm not made out of stone. However, I think this video has explained my rather unhealthy level of skepticism, my lack of trust in either of them. Quite frankly, their track records speak for themselves. I think if you take away the spin from Prince Harry and from the King, which I know is harsh, there isn't a lot to recommend either of them. I look forward to William's reign because I have hope it will be a new, fresh beginning and hopefully unburdened by a really murky past. So let me know what you think down below. I'll share your thoughts in an upcoming live. Can't wait. I'll see you then. Bye.